Welcome back to the AT-AT Chat. Today we are going to be talking about the Death Star. The destruction of the Death Star is without a doubt one of the biggest triumphs of the rebellion. It ended the possibility, at least for some time, of the Empire destroying more worlds than just Alderaan. And with that perspective, the destruction of the Death Star and the subsequent one built during Return of the Jedi seems like a no harm done kind of situation. The Empire wanted to rule with fear via that weapon, so take out said weapon, and that's that. The rebellion destroys the baddies and we move on. However, there is an interesting perspective on the destruction of the two Death Stars. And that perspective is the idea that while the rebellion wanted to end the tyranny of the Empire, were their tactics really noble, or just the flip side of Imperial rule? Was the loss of life on the Death Star worth it? Of course, there were billions of people instantly vaporized on Alderaan via the Death Star, as well as the destruction of Jedha City as a mere demonstration. So no argument on the evil power of the Death Star itself, but I'm more focused on the almost 1.5 million people who occupied the station during its annihilation. And if you take a moment to think about that number, there is absolutely no way everyone on that battle station deserved to die. And those who somehow had escaped the Death Star or were on duty on another vessel ended up traumatized by the event and loss of their friends and comrades. If you have read the book Lost Stars, this issue is explored, and here's an excerpt from the book because I don't want to give away too much in case you have never read it. It's arguably the best new canon book, but the quote is as follows. Sienna refused to ignore Jude's death. She still had nightmares of running through the station's corridors, screaming for Jude to get on a shuttlecraft, but never finding her friend. And another quote from that book reads as follows. The Rebel Alliance was no better. It had blown up the Death Star with nearly 2 million people on board. So, while we were made to not really empathize with the Empire in the films, these books finally demonstrated a lot of pain surrounding the destruction of that vessel. So, how many people were on board exactly when the first Death Star was annihilated? Well, based on old canon, we can break down the inhabitants of the Death Star before its destruction as follows. According to the technical companion for the Death Star, which again really isn't canon anymore, but gives us a very clear picture if you own it, it states the following. The crew was numbered at 265,675 people, gunners at 57,276 people, a skeleton crew at 56,914 people, troops ranged at 607,360 people, the stormtroopers were at 25,984 individuals, and the starship support staff was at 167,216 individuals. So, when we total this up, it comes to 1,189,425 souls aboard that station at that time. That's truly an enormous number of people that Luke Skywalker individually vaporized. And as I said, we all know, there were countless individuals on board without any idea of the true machinations of the Empire whatsoever. At best, we can reduce the amount of truly evil Imperials to the Moffs, the directors, Tarkin being the worst of them, then there's Darth Vader, the Emperor himself, and whoever else were sycophants of the dark side. And the new era of Star Wars introduced even more shades of gray within the Empire with Rogue One, and even some of the sequel trilogy. And besides these obviously evil characters, it would seem that everyone else was truly just fulfilling a job, and it's possible that due to extremely effective propaganda, most of these people who perished believe that they were actually a true force of good in the galaxy. Now, besides having any kind of consequential reflection about what the rebellion just did, the rebellion does it again. And this time, not only were Imperials killed, but individuals probably hired to finish the construction of the Death Star too. At least I assume people were hired to build it and were there during the final battle, but again, I'm not sure. So if we want to take, another look at the numbers of lives lost at the second Death Star battle station, it is as follows. There were about 1,186,295 people to maybe 1,206,293 people aboard at that time. And if the station was completed before the final attack, the total amount of souls on board would have been 2,472,647 people. Now, if we combine both the total deaths between both Death Stars, we get 2,375,720 people killed by the rebellion. And in each case, basically an instantaneous event. While this is nowhere near the amount of deaths at the hand of the Empire itself, it's high enough to raise an eyebrow and maybe raise some concern. So to close out this video, I want to ask you a question. Do you think the death of each and every one of those people who served the Empire for one reason or another was worth the cost of galactic freedom? Was there really no alternative? It's true that in the era of The Mandalorian, which is on now, and it's a fantastic show, that there are still warlords from the Empire and people hungry for power after the fall of the entire galactic empire. So perhaps the annihilation of anyone sympathetic to the Empire on any level was deemed absolutely necessary. But either way, it's an intriguing aspect to the rebellion to ponder. And hopefully we'll get more stuff along this line going down new canon. It's kind of like asking yourself, should Cassian Andor have killed Tivik, or at least attempted to help him out of their particular situation? The morality of Star Wars gets murkier and murkier, and personally, I love it. So, hope you enjoyed this video. May the Force be with you, and AT-AT is signing off.